Ba-ba-bum. Excuse me, and welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night mini medicine card reading. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and I was almost late. I was drawing. If I'm ever late, you can pretty much rest assured that I was either napping or drawing. So I was drawing more comics. So come on in, everybody. Hi, Anna. Come on in, and if you haven't been here before, all you need, if you want a one-card reading, all you need to do is say yes in the comments and be one of the first 6 people who do. And if you're not one of the first 6, it's okay, because then all you need to do is choose a number between 1 and 6. And that card, I had my card thing, and I'd already pulled my cards. I was looking for my pen earlier, and I was holding it in my hand, and it's just kind of crazy. All right, awesome. Okay. Sorry, my phone is a little further away. Carly, hello, Carly. Valerie, did you want a card? And Tammy, pull a card for all 3 of you. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, gotcha, Valerie. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-bum. So, all right. 1 card for all 3 of you, yes. That should be interesting. And never mind the little clothespins and stuff. My phone holder thingy kind of went kaput, and I haven't gotten a new one yet, so I'm just having to do with leaning it up against things, and so now you can see the men behind the curtain. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4. We've got room for 2 more. If you haven't been here before, my only request is that you please share this video. I'm trying to widen my audience and help more people. So if you know anyone who would be interested, you can tag them in the comments, or you can share it to your own page, or someone who you think it might help. And if you want to give more than that, of course, I am beyond grateful for anything you want to give me to support your friendly neighborhood shaman. And I have my PayPal and Venmo links pinned to the top of the comments. But this is always free. That is only if you feel like you want to give and support me. So I think that's it for now. Just start pulling some cards, shall we? All right. All right, so card number 1 is for Anna. Ha ha! Awesome. Anna, you got Eagle. Grandfather Eagle. You know, I swear we were just talking, you and I, like the last reading you had, we were talking about something similar. The whole idea of you know, oh, I know what it was, because squirrel came up. And I was talking about squirrel medicine and everything, and then all of a sudden, I saw a flying squirrel. And, you know, flying squirrel is similar to eagle. So those who haven't heard this before, I once, Eagle came to me in a vision one time, and he told me that, amongst other things, he was like, okay, let me think how he put it. All you need to do is open your heart, and you do that by spreading your wings, and then the breath of the mother carries you, right? So it's like surrendering to who you are, surrendering so that it's effortless, and by letting go, that's how you get lift, right? So it's kind of, it's like, obviously you've been working on it, and you've been opening your heart, spreading your wings, and I hope you've been experiencing it, that things may have been falling into place a little bit easier. You know, and one of the benefits of that, so, you know, eagle soaring up above everybody, getting that perspective of the whole picture, right? Things are no longer linear, right? It's like when we are going through our day-to-day lives, it's like we're living in like a two-dimensional world, because all we can see is what's in front of us, right? And so, and I talk about this in my classes when I talk about spirit guides and stuff, right? It's like we're at a ball game or something, and we're down on the ground floor, and so all we can see is two-dimensionally who's in front of us and stuff. But our spirit guides are sitting in the bleachers, so they can see the layout of the entire game. And so they can better guide us. That's how they can guide us better, because they can see it's not linear. For us on the ground, or if you're trying to steal a base or whatever, you know, things are linear, things are two-dimensional. But you have escaped that two-dimensionality, like, you know, bursting through the fourth wall, seeing things from a different perspective. And so you have been doing the work. You obviously, okay, fireworks for Anna. I love that. And the advantage, like part of the medicine that Eagle brings you, is the ability to have that wide peripheral perspective, as well as being able to focus on things that are miles away, right? So there's a different level of causality, right? Oh, hey, Roulette. Actually, there are 2 places left. So we were waiting for you. We got Roulette and Joe. Like when the way I see it is, Eagle has taken the leap from like Newtonian physics, you know, like every action has an equal and opposite reaction, you know, like basically the mechanistic universe where it's like, you know, and that's, I think, you know, that came up I think that is the place, or one of the places, where our society took a wrong turn, because it turned the universe into this mechanistic clockwork where there was no vibrancy, no vitality, no life. It was just this thing happened at the beginning of time, and we've just all been billiard balls since then, and we're getting knocked around, and there's no rhyme or reason, there's no higher power. It's just this mechanistic. Hey, Joe! And that comes from that limited viewpoint of being, ground level, and just being able to see two-dimensionally, what's in front of you. But when you rise above, and it's kind of obvious, like raising your frequency, right? When you raise your frequency, you can see things from a whole nother level. And things are no longer that linear action-reaction causality, right? It's kind of like, it reminds me of, I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer talking about, if you're looking through a hole in the fence, so there's a fence in front of you, and there's a hole in the fence, and you see a cat walk by, you're not seeing the full picture, you're seeing bits and pieces, and so you see the head, then you see the body, and then you see the tail. And so it would be tempting to say, well, the head causes the tail, right? But the cat is whole and complete in itself. The hole in the fence just gives a certain perspective, right? And you just superseded all of those by rising above everything, where you can see the entire cat. You're not seeing, oh, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. You're seeing how everything is connected, right? And moving into quantum physics rather than Newtonian physics, where everything is being created in every moment, that the universe is blinking on and off, and every moment is a brand new beginning, and anything is possible, right? And Eagle can, be seen as great spirit, right? And so it's really about, I know you've been, I know you've been being kind of strongly encouraged to take a break, to slow down, to take a look at things. And I think this is the purpose of that whole experience. That time of slowing down, of pausing, of inactivity, because that's the stuff that keeps us, holds us down, weighs us down to the physical reality. And once we let go of all of that stuff, I think I told you about the dream I had. I'm going to say it because there might be someone else that chose card number 1. So this is it. I know I told you. I'm pretty sure I told you. Maybe I didn't. So I'm just going to tell it anyway. I had this dream one time, and I came to the edge of a cliff, and I knew that I had to keep going, but there's this cliff in front of me. And I had these 2 big bags of stuff on my back, and they were heavy. And I'm like, it wasn't just this little chasm where I could jump over or anything. And I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to, leap off this cliff or go, keep going, especially when I'm carrying these 2 heavy bags of stuff. And my guides were like, oh, put them down. I was like, oh yeah. So I put these bags down, and as soon as I let go of them, I started floating. So the cliff became like not a factor, because I was now floating and flying because I had let go of everything that was holding me down to the ground. But left to my own resources and my own, divine light, whatever you want to call it, I naturally floated. And so that's what I'm seeing for you, that you've let go of a lot of the details and the logistics and the assumptions of how things work, and have been able to at least get a hint of how things really work and how things are really connected. So, good on you. All right. So I hope that's helpful, Anna. All right. Card number 2 is for Carly. I hope I'm saying that right. All right. Oh, you're welcome, Anna. I'm glad that made sense. Okay, good. Carly is how you pronounce. Okay. I was actually thinking about drawing Kamala Harris in a Wonder Woman costume. I was thinking that would be really cool. I think that's why I'm singing that song. I just happen to have her right there. All right. Focus and grounding. Quite a bit of coyote medicine around tonight. All right, Carly, card number 2 is Jaguar in reverse. What Jaguar is about is integrity. It's not saying that if Jaguar is in reverse, there's something wrong with you. You have to straighten out your act or anything like that. Because beyond integrity, meaning doing the right thing even when no one's looking, integrity is also about wholeness, like the integrity of a ship, right? If there's holes in the body of a ship, water leaks in, and so that it no longer has integrity, right? And so with Jaguar in reverse, it's like it's time to look at where there might be holes or leaks in your energy field, right? Where are you vulnerable? And a lot of times, this is what's coming to me, a lot of times, and I know this from personal experience, we kind of just take things on, right? We take on other people's thoughts, or we don't challenge things because it's not worth the effort. And so we kind of compromise our own integrity. We compromise our wholeness because we think we're like keeping the peace, or we're keeping not making waves or whatever. Or because we've got certain triggers that you know, like from childhood or whatever, like things that your parents might have said that made you feel less than or whatever, so that it was hard for you to gain confidence, or, you know, to have this one area that you don't feel complete in, that it's like your weak spot, you know, and you can be walking through your day all confident and everything, and then someone mentions your Achilles heel and you just crumble. You just become that, you know, 5 or 6 year old kid who was, you know, told they weren't any good or whatever. And so with Jaguar, it's like Jaguar is, and so please take this the right way. Jaguar is not coming here to punish you or to tell you how crappy you are. Jaguar is coming to help light that fire within you, to regain your sovereignty, okay? Jaguar is the queen of the jungle, right? Apex predator. She doesn't need to ask permission of anyone. She doesn't have to explain herself or justify herself. Her heart is her authority. So when her heart tells her to go get that antelope, she just, there's like no time or space between the thought and the action, because she is always in her integrity. Her action is an expression of who she is, right? No questioning, no pretense. And by doing that, her heart is her authority, because I've been kind of explaining this a little bit differently lately. I kind of like the way that it's been coming out. It's like, you know, your heart is what connects you to all living things, to all humanity, as well as to the divine, to Creator, right? And so if your heart is telling you to do something, or if your heart is saying, don't do that, go this direction, or whatever it is, your heart has already done the calculations of what's the best for everybody. And so if your intuition, if your heart is telling you to do something, it is automatically for the best well-being of all beings. There's no need to compromise. There's no need to belittle yourself or, you know, sacrifice yourself for someone else's gain, because the universe is a non-zero sum. It's not a, you know, A plus B equals C, and if you take A from one side, you have to add it to the other side to keep them equal. That's the society we live in, where power is in a pyramid with few on the top, on the backs of more and more people underneath them, being crushed beneath them. This is the circle of life, right? Jaguar is on top of the circle, and as she takes care of herself, listening to her own heart, you know, her heart leads her to take down the sick or the elderly or the slowest of the antelope, to feed herself, to get everything she needs. And by doing that, she's automatically increasing the health and the speed of the herds. And so there's nothing that can be for your betterment that will be to the detriment of anyone else. If it's for your well-being, it is automatically for the well-being of everybody. And so it's time to claim, you know, she's coming in reverse, because it's time to be the hunter, okay? It's time to seek out those places where there are thoughts or patterns or beliefs that don't support who you really are, who don't support your integrity, right? And as the apex predator, she's she's the one who gets to decide who lives and who dies in her world. And every time she does is for the betterment of herself and the whole. And so you get to decide what thoughts, whose voices, etc. exist in your head, in your heart, and any that don't support you, anything that makes you feel smaller, makes you feel inadequate, those thoughts or patterns are intrinsically false. Anything that doesn't make you feel lighter or lift you up is false. And it's a no. That's when you're listening to your heart, you're like, oh, I need to go do that. But I just feel so heavy. I don't really want to. That's a no. That's that feeling like, okay. Because if it's something that you really need to do, even if it's something you wouldn't really choose to do, but there's a little bit of a lightness to it. It's like there's something on the other side of that action that you need to claim. Then your heart's going to be a little bit lighter, and it's like, okay, that's a yes, let's do that. And that's how you reclaim your wholeness, your integrity. And remember as well that despite what it may look or feel like in this world, you are already whole. There is nothing wrong with you, and you have never done anything wrong. Like Mr. Rogers used to say, you're perfect just the way you are. And so when you can start, rather than starting from a broken, template, thinking you're broken and you have to rebuild yourself into wholeness, start with the wholeness and let go of those things that make you seem broken. Does that make sense? And when Jaguar comes up, it like just that whole apex predator and deciding who lives and dies, it reminds me of Artemis, who is my matron goddess. Because it's her silver arrows that decide who dies in the wilderness. And she's the one who decides who gets nurtured and gets to live. But it's not like a random accidental thing. It's like there is purpose behind it. And so it's like calling in that divine feminine within you, that goddess, that queen within you. And it's like not standing for anything that hurts you, not standing for anything that detracts from you, because you are this beautiful queen of the jungle, this Amazon power that no one has the authority to judge. There is no one in the universe more powerful than you, and there is no one in the universe who knows better than you what is right for you. So claim that. And notice how much, just think about cats in general, how they move, right? It's like every hair on a cat's body is technically a whisker. And so that is how in tune they are with their environment. So when you see, think a jaguar slinking through the tree, getting ready to pounce on something, it's almost like the way they move, it's like they're making love to the environment. It's like they are so in tune. So I hope that's helpful. And you're saying spot on, so good. I'm glad that made sense. It's so funny because there's always this moment of performance anxiety for me. Like, I'll pull a card and I'll get a thought, and then it's like, oh my God, what if it isn't right? What if this makes no sense? But then I have to let that go, right? Because it always works out. And the more you let go, the more authentic and true and pure the message is. So, you're welcome, Carly. All right, so card number 3 is for Tammy and her family, the 3 of you. I don't know that I've ever pulled one for 3 people at the same time, so this might be interesting. All right. So, oh, I'm so glad, Carly. You are so welcome. I'm glad that helped. All right. Tammy and company. Card number 3. Turtle in reverse. So, the first thing that comes into my head is there's a need to find common ground. It's like everyone is free floating and there's no, like turtle floating upside down. Or, hey, Devlin, I miss you. You still have to come see me. Sorry, squirrel, turtle. So it's like, it's like, the turtle is either floating on her back in the water or on her back up on land where she can't get herself over. She's like, rolling around trying to get enough of a oomph. Devlin. Thanks for the F-bomb. It's not about being slow. It's about common ground. Turtle is an embodiment of Mother Earth. And there's this beautiful story that I love. I won't tell the whole thing. I should do that sometime. I should just do like a storyteller time or something sometime. Yes, I'm sure, Devlin. But there's this story, this beautiful story about Sky Woman and how she was in the clouds where her people lived, and she was looking through a hole in the clouds down at the earth, and she lost her footing and she fell through that hole. And there was a tree next to her, and she went to grab the tree to steady herself, but the branch broke off in her hand. And so she's falling through the air toward the earth. And this flock of geese saw her. And so they flew up. Wouldn't that be cool to have storytelling time? I'm gonna commit to that because I love stories. Anyway, I actually was thinking about doing some like bedtime story type videos, like from the fairy books, like the red and the blue and the green fairy books, or different mythologies and stuff. So anyway, into that tangent, back to our normal story. So as Sky Woman's falling through the air, this flock of geese sees her and they fly up and they catch her in their wings and they bring her back down to the earth. To the ocean, because at that time, the earth was a water world. There was no land. And so they got Turtle to rise up so that she can have something solid to stand on or to sit on. And they realized that, well, Turtle can't just sit there for the rest of her life. And so the different animals took turns trying to dive to the bottom of the ocean to get mud to come up and spread across Turtle's shell in order to make land. And I won't go into all the details, but it was eventually Muskrat who succeeded in going down, getting mud, and bringing it to the surface. And so they took the mud from Muskrat, they spread it across Turtle's shell, creating North America, which is also known as Turtle Island. That's where that title came from. And the branch that Sky Woman had in her hand when she fell through was a tree that had every possible plant in it. Every possible seed existed in that branch. And so she walked across the shell, across the mud, the dirt that they brought up, and she planted all these seeds. And so all the plants now that we have in North America came from Sky Woman. And she planted them in the mud that Muskrat had brought from the bottom of the ocean and spread across Turtle Shell, and that became the land that we live on. That's why I'm saying common ground, like when Turtle comes up, it's about foundation. It's about having something solid beneath you. And so when she's on her back, she's floating, you know, like I said, she's off center, she's off balance. She can't right herself. She can't go anywhere. She can't do anything. And so it's like this need for all three of you to come to common ground. And to recognize each other's sovereignty, okay? Autonomy. It's like you each have your own world, right? Turtle carries her home with her. So no matter where she goes, she's always complete, she's always home, and she's always safe. But in reverse, it could be that you're all trying to crawl into the same shell and there's just not room. And so there's this need to recognize the autonomy of each of you, to realize that you each have different needs, and to, you know, and that's where the common ground comes in. Not necessarily that you have to agree on every single little detail, but that you have a common ground of respect for each other, for each other's perspectives and each other's differences. And that's how you can have common ground. Then you'll be like the turtles in Finding Nemo, right? Like, whoa! Then you were like, whoa! Then you were like, whoa! Because you get carried by the flows and the currents. And right now it's kind of like floundering around. You know, when there's storms or whatever, Turtle will drop to the bottom of the pond, right? Where the water is stillness. There's stillness and silence, even though the storm is raising up above. And so she waits out until the calm comes again, and then she rises back to the surface. And so I need to make sure that I'm saying this correctly, because I don't want it to be like, you got to run away from chaos, right? Because you all have your home with you. You're always where you're supposed to be, and you're always safe, right? But when the waters become choppy and there's storm a-brewing, it's time to go deeper, right? Rather than just staying on the surface where the storm is mighty and blowing and destruction and volatile, it's time for everyone to drop inside themselves to a place where they can access that deep stillness within them until that storm blows itself out. Then you can all rise to the surface, and then you can talk or do whatever you need to do. fact, right now it's almost like my guys just gave me this visual of these turtles in the pond. Like one falls, like one gets turned upside down, and the other two come up maybe to help, but the upside down one gets his flippers or his feet on the other one and is able to right itself, but in doing so causes the other one to go upside down. And so it's kind of this like old black and white comedy, like slapstick comedy or something, where these turtles keep getting turned upside down and right side up, and it's like you need to help each other up, look eye to eye, see the divine in each other, see the common ground in each other, see your separate paths that you each have, right? Because some turtles live on the land, some turtles live in the sea, some turtles live in ponds. It is exhausting, and so it's time to take a break. It's time to breathe. You know, you might consider doing some meditations together. Not guided meditations necessarily, but like just putting on music and breathing together. In fact, I don't know how you would do this for all three of you, but there's this really cool exercise you can do where two of you sit back to back, right? And as one of you inhales, so it's like you're taking air in, and so your body kind of goes, that's when the person with their back to you exhales. And then when they inhale, you exhale. And so it's like this back and forth, making space for each other, allowing each other to have space, and then to fill that space, and empty that space, then fill that space. And something like that might be really beneficial just to connect, right? Because then we always think about our chakras, and we think in front, like our third eye and our heart and our sacral, all of that. But your chakras go all the way through you, right? So if you're sitting back to back, your chakras are actually touching. And so it's a way of also connecting your energies together and breathing together, moving, so that it's not that you're doing the same thing at the same time. You're moving in harmony, right? So that you help recognize that you each have your own path. You each have your own destiny. You each came here for your own divine purposes. And something like that exercise can kind of allow people into your space and then to claim your own space, and so that you can see how no one can really interfere with your divinity. You know, that's the other side of it too, is like not giving others the power to make you, to tip you over, right? Stay grounded, stay four square, right? Low center of gravity, then no one can topple you, and you can stand and nothing can push you over, right? Everyone's on their backs laughing. Oh my gosh. That's awesome, Tammy. I wish I could see. I wish I could know what you guys are doing. You guys are goofy. But so I hope that helps. They're on their backs. And so you can help each other right yourselves. Rather than toppling someone else in order to get right side up, it's like, make it the group effort. So, you're welcome. I really, really hope that helps. And I don't know the details. I don't need to know the details. I'm not sure what all is happening for you guys, but there's a reason you're together. There's a reason you're a family. There's a reason that you are going through these things. So claim your own sovereignty and respect the sovereignty of each other. So, all right, card number 4 for Valerie. All right, I need to open my window again. I closed it because it was noisy up there, but it's starting to get hot and sweaty. All right, that was fun. Valerie, you got Dolphin. You know, you're doing better than you think you are. And you are one of the most resilient people I know. Buoyancy, right? Like, things might weigh you down for a little while, but then you always bounce up. And miracles, like, I have watched miracles just popping up around you. It's like the playfulness of the universe around you is amazing. It's like the universe is like, come play. Muck about in the water, having a good time. That's all you need to do. But breathe. And I know you have protocols too, so I'm just like, when Dolphin comes up, I just always like to reiterate the importance of like meditation or having like that spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice. To have some kind of that routine, that structure, so that, you know, it kind of, I mean, in a way, it's like the same kind of discipline. And that's not always my favorite word, but like to take your pills every day or whatever it is. There's certain things you have to do every day to take care of yourself, and they might not be the most fun or just, you know, not that they're dreadful or anything, but that, oh my God, I just want to get on with my life. Wonder is miracle of miracles. Yeah. And so it's like when we get that routine built up, then you know, first thing in the morning, you can do your routine, brushing your teeth, taking your pills, all the other stuff, without really giving it any extra energy or thought. And so when we build up that kind of discipline for our mental and energetic care, you know, or energetic hygiene, and meditate, it gives us that structure to help us do it even on the days when we don't want to. But it's those, like, I've been thinking about this. It's like those of you that know I do, besides this video, I also do a Wednesday night video where I do the sacred pipe ceremony right here on my Facebook page, Wednesdays at 7. And I started doing that back in the pandemic as a way to give people like an hour or so out of their crazy day, this weird world that we were suddenly thrown into, and unprecedented changes and stuff. And so I was doing it to hold space for people, to give them, the opportunity to take like an hour out of their week. But what I've never really said was the idea that if, like for me, doing that every week, I always have something to look forward to. And it's like, it's that one time where it's that touchstone, where I get to go home for a moment. And so that I reconnect with that serenity, I reconnect with that peace and that wholeness I was talking about earlier with Jaguar. So that I can relax in that moment. I can let go of the barriers and the walls and the shields and breathe, right? And then that carries into my next day, and so for the next day or two, I can still carry a part of that calm with me. And then as the week progresses, and I start to, you start to hit that point where it's hard to breathe and you're feeling like you're drowning. It's like, okay, Wednesday's almost here. I've got that. I need to make it from Wednesday to Wednesday. Then I'll be okay. And it's like having that place to touch in, to remember what's real, to remember who you really are. And then, keep that alive as long as you possibly can. But with Dolphin, talking about it on a daily basis, it's like, if you can do that at least once a day, if not twice a day, like morning and evening, to be that time of touching in, no matter what else is going on, to give yourself permission to, like when and you know this, Valerie, when I was a kid, I was an avid worrywart, and I worried about everything. And there were times when I couldn't sleep because there was something bothering me, something that I just couldn't let go of. And what my mom always told me was, it's so funny because this conservative Catholic woman, telling me to use creative visualization back in like the 60s and 70s. But she told me to picture a shelf above my bed, on the wall above my bed, and on that shelf was a little treasure chest. And she said, now open that up and take whatever this worry is, whatever this thought is, and put it into that box. And then close it. And let God watch over it for the night so that you can sleep. And then if you want to, in the morning, you can open up that treasure chest and take it back out again. But for the moment, let God take care of it. And so it's kind of like when you're doing your daily routine, to be able to, for at least that 5 or 10 minutes or however long you do it, to just like consciously take that out, all the worries and the doubts, and just set them aside, put them in the God box, and then go back in and remember who you are in your wholeness, in your spirit, in your divinity, in the place where there is no separation, where you are safe and you are whole and you are loved. And then again, once you're done with your meditation, if you want to open that box and pull the worries back out, go for it. But at least for those, 2 moments out of the day, to be able to touch into the truth of your being, like truth with the uppercase T. The good, the true, and the beautiful about you. And then go about your day, because then you know that, when you're going through your day, if you're having a bad, if you do this first thing, it'll probably help your day be a little more smoother, not so many bumps. And even if there are bumps, you always have that moment in the evening to look forward to clear your energy, to let go of those things, to cut the cords, whatever it is, to remember that wholeness, to remember that you are a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. That spirit, that divinity, that love is your default setting. That's who you are. And everything else is piled on top of that. So for a moment, taking that pile off so you can shine your light, and then if you want to put it back on, or just, over the course of the day or whatever, the things might start coming back. But as best you can, to stay in that sacred space. You are sacred space. You are earth, air, fire, water. You are spirit. You are sacred space. And I wrote a poem a long time ago. I don't know if I can remember it word for word. And it wasn't not a rhyming one. It was something about like Mother Earth reaching up and wrapping herself around my soul to create my body, so I am sacred ground. Remember that you are sacred, that you are holy, that you are complete, you are divine, and there is nothing that will be withheld from you. Okay? I hope that helps. I really hope that helps, Valerie. All right, card number 5. Okay, Missy. Kira's over here whapping things with her tail. All right, card number 5 for roulette. You're welcome, Valerie. You're so welcome. All right, roulette. Card number 5 is Owl. There ain't no one gonna pull anything over on you. It's interesting. I was just thinking about the commonality between Owl. Well, I just did a reading for someone this past week, and Owl came up in one spot, and directly opposite was like Lynx. And it's so interesting. There is such a connection between owls and cats. In fact, I've actually known a couple of cats who actually were owls in cat suits. One of them I actually helped pass over. And when she died, it was so beautiful. When she passed, it's like she stepped out of the cat suit, not even walked out. It was like these wings came out and shed that cat suit, and she just took off soaring. So there's a lot of common ground between owls and cats. In fact, owls are sometimes called winged tigers. So what I'm getting at is that you're not just laying down taking it anymore. That you're getting your fiercity, is that a word? Not ferociousness. Is it veracity? I'm not sure what word I'm looking for, but your fierceness is back, and that ability to see what is essential, right? Eagle sees in the light. Owl has the same exact ferocity. Why did that not? Ferocity. Yes, thank you, Roulette. When I'm in the flow, sometimes the words don't quite coalesce. But eagle sees in the daytime, but owl has the same, just as keen of eyesight, only she sees at night. She sees through the dark. And that is why she is the totem of Athena, the god of war, the god of justice, the god of wisdom, goddess of wisdom in ancient Greece, because she would look through owl's eyes and there was nothing anyone could do to deceive her, because she could see through anything. And so this ability to, again, kind of see through the dark to the heart of the matter, to be able to see what your heart wants, and to have that ferocity and, what word am I looking for? God, why the words are not coming easily tonight. It's like bordering on arrogance, but not quite there. It's like having enough self-esteem and self-realization, not discernment. I'm talking about, it's like, it goes along with that ferocity, and it's that kind of that again, that queenship, right? That sovereignty to say, psst, no one can get in my way. Right. Clarity and vision. Those are both exactly what owl has. But, gosh, what is the word? It's similar. I mean, those are components of what I'm trying to get at. But it's like, you know, like when you have a really good artist, or you have a really good movie director or actor that gets really into their art, right? They tend to get reputations as being hard to work with, and to be petty, and to be single-minded. But that is a quality of a great artist, because you have your vision and you stop at nothing to make it come true. And so if you're the director, you're not gonna, oh, that was good enough. It's like, nope, let's do it again. That's not exactly what I want. We're getting close. Let's try it again. Because you have that clarity and that vision of what you want, and you have that tenacity to go for it without asking permission, without feeling beholden to anyone else. You know, it's like showing up in your full presence, in your full power, saying, this is what we're doing. This is my vision. I am the director. If you can't handle it, there's the door. Because the vision and the artwork, whatever it is the important thing, is birthing that, you know. And so that's when you get the great movies or the great pieces of art, because the artist didn't stop until it was fully realized, and they didn't settle for second best, or, well, I guess the nose should be a little bit rounder, but oh, that's good enough for now, right? It's like, no. So it's like, it's this side of being crazy, right? This side of mad scientist, right? Being crazy, having the gumption and the authority to go and do what you need to do, right? And owl is the only bird that is silent in her flight. And so it's like, you see what needs to be done, you fly in and you do it, and you fly back out before anyone even knows. So it's not even a question of people questioning you or asking for justification or anything, because you've already done it, right? It's kind of that thing about how it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission. And my dad was really good at that. Honey badger, yes, that's exactly. You know, my dad, I can say this now because he's gone, but he had his own business. He was an electrical contractor. He had his own electric company, and I used to work for him. And there were times when he would have me do something. Like, there were times when I had my learner's permit, but I didn't have my license yet. But he told me that to take a truck up to one of his workers, and I'm like, but I don't have my license. And he's like, our hometown is called Rosemount, and he was like, what are Rosemount cops going to do to you? And it's kind of that kind of it's not disparaging or putting anyone down really or anything. It's just, this needs to be done. Go do it, right? And that's how I learned how to drive a stick shift. My dad, I had a license at that point, but my dad was like, okay, the guy up in St. Paul needs that truck, or he needs these supplies, take that truck there. And I'm like, but it's a stick shift. I don't know how to drive a stick. You'll figure it out. And that is how I learned how to drive a stick shift, by driving between Rosemount and St. Paul and back again. But anyway, that's off the subject. Thanks, Dad. But it's having that rightness, knowing you're like, okay, there's another quote. Davy Crockett used to say, make sure you're right, then go ahead. And that's basically what I'm saying. It's like, you see you're right, you trust, because your heart, you're not just going from the head, you're not just like, well, I can do what I want. You know, it's nothing like that. It's like, okay, that needs to happen. And so I'm flying in, I'm doing that, and I'm coming back out. Because your heart is telling you to do that. This is about navigating by the heart, through the dark, through the unseen, through the mystery, through the unknown. And this is part of your gift to the world, okay? Because you can see things that others don't. You have clarity and vision because you can see through the dark. You can see the other possibilities. You can see what's waiting on the other side. And other people can't see through the dark. All they see is this, blackness in front of them. But you can see through to the other side. And that's what makes you a really good leader. And I think that's like, I was almost like it was like a mic drop there. I was like, I said that and was like, okay, I think that's it. Enough said. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, Roulette. All right, one more card. One more card. One more card. One more card. Card number 6. Actually, there'll be another card after it, so it's not. You approve of this message. You're so funny. I love you guys. All right, card number 6 for Joe, and then we will do the community card. And in my head, I was humming the Wonder Woman theme song earlier, and in my head it just turned into the I Dream of Jeannie theme. All right, Joe, card number 6. All right. Haha. Tinkle, tinkle, tea. Joe, card number 6 is Dragonfly in Reverse. I'm so glad we had the TV shows we had when I was a kid. Between Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and stuff like that, there was so much magic in the air. HR Puffin stuff and all those really good shows that had magic. Not to mention anything Walt Disney did. All right. Oh, I just pulled the card. Duh. Grounding. All right. So, Joe, card number 6 was... yes, I need a soul retrieval. Joe, card number 6, Dragonfly in Reverse. And so Dragonfly is about illusion. Dragonfly is a master of illusion. And I'll tell the story real quick for the sake of those who may not have heard this before. But the story that goes with Dragonfly, at least according to this card deck, once upon a time there was this great and mighty dragon who was all powerful and magical, and like most dragons, he was very arrogant and liked to boast about his prowess. And one day, Coyote got really tired of hearing his bragging and decided someone needed to take him down a notch. And knowing of no one more qualified, he volunteered. So he goes up to this great mighty dragon and says, I bet you're not powerful enough to make yourself this big. The dragon laughed in his face and he turned himself into a dragonfly. Well, when he did so, he got caught in his own illusion that he was just this frail little body. He still had access to all the magic, all the power, but he convinced himself that he was just this fragile little body. And so he got caught in his own illusion. And so when Dragonfly comes up, especially in reverse, it's a reminder to open that eyesight. Like Dragonfly can see in literally every direction at the same time, right? So it's like, open your eyes to see what's really there. Remember that appearances are deceptive, that this whole world is an illusion, right? This whole world is a production on a stage. And that underneath it all, we are all divine beings of light and love and perfection. And when Dragonfly comes up in reverse, it can be a time of taking the world too seriously, getting caught into the dramas, and thinking that you are just this weak physical human being with no soul, with no other outside powers than what is seen. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Dragonfly. Okay, this is coming from my guides. My guides say Dragonfly not only sees in every direction at the same time, he can see interdimensionally. And so when Dragonfly comes along, it's time to open not just your 2 eyes, right, but all 3 eyes. Roulette, side eyes Joe and Costly. But it's time to, like, I actually had this written on my mirror for a while. One of my guides said this to me, like, when you get up in the morning, open all 3 eyes. But it's time to open all 3 eyes, Joe, and to open that crown. It's like you're putting a cap, you're limiting your vision. Again, like I was saying earlier, that whole, like seeing the world in 2 dimensions, right? Rather than opening up and seeing everything as it truly is. And I know that dragonflies are often, at least I've heard it before, that dragonflies are kind of the gatekeepers to the fairy realms. And so, and if you think about their wings, right, they're like transparent, but they have the glistening kind of colors in them, like a whole rainbow. And there are these different sleek colors and everything. And it's like they are the gatekeepers between the realms. And so, again, like I was talking with, like with dolphin medicine, it's like, remember who you really are. Open all 3 eyes, open that crown, connect to spirit, because you are not this lowly, God-forsaken creature who has to get up in the morning, feed himself, do obligations, go to bed, and wake up, and that's not who you are. Dragonfly's been making a lot of appearances for you. Awesome. I actually had, I was going to put it on Instagram. I haven't gotten to it yet, but the other day, I actually rescued a dragonfly from the river. I was down at the river doing pipe ceremony. And I look up and there's this little dragonfly just floating on the river. And I'm like, oh my God. So I like jumped up and fished it out of the river, but it wasn't moving or anything. I'm like, darn it, I didn't get it in time. And I thought it was dead. So I set him on my little altar where I was doing my pipe ceremony. And then the wind blew him off. And I went and picked him up again, and one of his legs moved. I'm like, was that just reflex? But it wasn't like a random movement. It was like his leg moved in order to kind of steady himself in my hand. So I just sat and held him for, God, it must have been at least an hour. Just sit there with dragonfly in my hand. Every once in a while, they kind of moved my hand a little bit, and his little legs would move just enough to kind of steady himself again. So I knew he was still there. And I was kind of blowing on him a little bit softly to kind of help dry him out and everything. And then while he was in my hand, this was a first for me. I did a soul retrieval for the dragonfly. And I'm not sure if it helped. He did come back, like after that. I was holding him and he flew off, and I'm like, yay! And he flew right back over the river and then poof, back into the water. I'm like, no! And he was further out that time. So I had to I shed my shoes as fast as I could. I still had my socks out, and I just waded out, splashed into the river, and scooped him out and held him again for a little while. But this time, he was more conscious, and as I was holding him in my hand, I was actually holding him like this, and he was kind of he was like his head up, you know, like dragonflies do, right? So his head was up here with his tail down, and he started doing this thing with his wings. His wings were like vibrating, and I'm like, oh, he's revving his engines. I think it was a way of like drying off or something. I know, like in the mornings, like they sleep, like they'll find a perch, and they'll sleep overnight, and in the morning they're covered with dew, and somehow they shake off the dew, and I think that's what he was doing with his wings to kind of death wish dragonfly. Feather, you're funny. And then all of a sudden he just shoom, and he took off and he went away from the river. I'm like, yes. Anyway, so that's my dragonfly story from the week. A Pisces dragonfly. So don't Don't get enthralled or hypnotized by the illusion of life in this world. Keep, if you're having, how do I put this? If you're feeling contracted, if you're feeling pressure pushing in, open those eyes, open your crown, expand, and realize that you are all powerful. You have the power of the universe within you and around you. You are not a fragile human being. You are eternal. And there is nothing that will arise in this life that is beyond you. Okay? I was going to say that I'm always like, I'll start to say something and then I stop because like, I don't know if that's true. But I'm like, there aren't many creatures in the world that are more magical than dragonflies, right? That's you. You are magical. What did you say, Roulette? You're welcome for saving Joe from his river of self-doubt. Yeah. Be like that dragonfly when you get thrown into the river when you're all wet and heavy. Remember that the wet dries off. That heaviness is not yours and it is not you. Don't take on the heaviness of the world and think that that is who you are. Rev them engines like that dragonfly and his wings, and then shoom, take off, and you can fly. Dragonflies are like hummingbirds. They can fly in any direction. They can make pretty much right turns. The world is wide open. You can go in any direction. You can do anything that you can imagine. Okay, my friend? You got this. Yay! All right, so that was card number 6. So let me pull one more for the community. And while I'm doing that, kind of give you a couple of announcements. So like I said earlier, Wednesday nights I do another video here on my Facebook page. You are so welcome, Joe, where I do the sacred pipe ceremony. I basically hold space, give people the opportunity to connect to spirit for at least a little bit, a moment out of their week. It's the most beautiful, it's a very simple ceremony, but it's one of the most profound ceremonies that I have experienced. And I have experienced my share of ritual and ceremony, being raised Catholic, becoming pagan, and finally becoming a shaman. Well, I was always a shaman, but realizing, coming home to shamanism. So I know a thing or two about ceremony, and this is hands down to me the most powerful ceremony. So check that out if it sounds interesting. If you don't know what the sacred pipe is, think about the peace pipe, like in the old westerns or Dances with Wolves. And anything else. So please share my video far and wide. If there's someone that might get something out of it or enjoy it, please share. If you wish to reciprocate, if you got something good out of tonight and you want to reciprocate, or just you enjoy my work, you want to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, my PayPal and Venmo links are pinned to the top of the comments. And I'm so grateful for anything anyone gives me. It's such a, it's amazing when people give me money, pay me for doing things that I love to do. It is just so amazing. So thank you for that. And when we're done here in a minute, I am going to share this video to my Facebook page, and I will also upload it to my Perching Wolf Studios YouTube channel. So check out my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. That helps put me up in the algorithm or something, and helps more people find them. And I've got like 5 years-ish of videos already on there. So if you feel like you need another reading, you can pull up one of these Monday Medicine card readings, choose a number, watch for that card, and I promise you that even though it may be 5 or even like 10 years or even longer older, that it will be exactly what you need at that time. And if you would like a full-on personal reading with me, we can arrange that. You can visit my website at perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can learn more about me. You can see the different shamanic services I offer, readings and healings and teachings. Oh my. And you can set up a session with me right from that place. And I think that's it for now. So let's pull another card. We good? No. Wait. Keep soaring. You're doing much better than you think you are. Okay? Everyone, open your heart, spread your wings, and allow Spirit to carry you. It's amazing when you surrender, and no matter what's happening in my life, from experience, especially with having extreme panic attacks and anxiety, I know that the answer is always surrender, because you are greater than anything that will ever challenge you. And it's by surrendering to your greatness, to your true self, to your true being, that allows you to rise above anything. Okay? And like they say, an airplane needs resistance in order to get airborne, right? It's the resistance of the air against it that allows it to fly. So when you're experiencing resistance, when you're experiencing challenges, open your wings and allow it to carry you to the skies, okay? So that is our time for this evening. I thank you so much for joining me. I thank everyone that has the perseverance to last for this whole hour and a half with me. I know I tend to go on tangents and ramble, but I really appreciate your presence here. This is one of the highlights of my week. And so I hope you'll join me next week. Invite your friends and please share. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, everyone. And go shining. All right, bye.